Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to State Quarter. What if I told you that 5 ordinary-looking pennies, yes, just pennies, could secretly be worth over $800,000 combined?
I'm talking about coins from 1941, 1944, 1945, 1953, coins that many people have held, spent, or ignored. But here's the shocking part. One tiny detail like a missing mint mark, a small D or S, or even the coin's coloring condition can turn a 1-cent piece into a 6-figure treasure. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on valuable coins that could be hiding in your pocket. Let's get started. First up, the 1941 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks ordinary, just another old copper coin. But once you know what to look for, this coin becomes something collectors actively hunt for. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which means it naturally carries no mint mark under the date. That's completely normal. But here's where things start to get interesting. While millions of these coins were produced, only a tiny fraction have survived in truly high-grade condition, and even fewer display the sharp detail and eye appeal that serious collectors demand. Take a closer look at the coin's design. On the front, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's profile with smooth, clean lines. The word I birdie should be crisp. The date 1,941 inches clear and strong. And in God, we trust fully visible without fading. Flip it over, and you'll find the iconic wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and undreaded stats of America. On high-quality examples, those wheat lines are bold and fully defined, not worn down or blended together. Condition is everything with this coin. Most 1941 pennies you'll find are heavily circulated, meaning they've been used for years and show wear, scratches, and dull surfaces. Those are typically worth just a few cents to a few dollars. But when you step into the world of uncirculated coins, coins that were never really used in daily transactions, you start seeing a dramatic jump in value. Collectors pay close attention to luster, which is that original shine the coin had when it left the mint. A strong, glowing luster combined with a clean surface and sharp details can push a 1941 penny into a completely different price range. Coins graded in mint state condition, especially MS65 and above, are where the real excitement begins. Now let's talk about something that can make this coin even more valuable: errors and exceptional quality. While the standard 1941 penny is common, rare examples with striking errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual toning can command serious attention. Even subtle variations like exceptional red coloration can make a massive difference. Most older pennies turn brown over time, so a bright red 1941 penny is incredibly desirable. Demand for Lincoln Wheat Pennies remains strong across the United States. These coins are one of the most collected series in American numismatics, and that constant demand keeps prices competitive. New collectors love them because they're affordable at entry levels, while advanced collectors chase the highest grade examples to complete top-tier sets. Here's where things get really exciting. While average circulated 1941 pennies might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars, high-grade uncirculated examples can sell for hundreds or even thousands. But in extremely rare cases, where the coin is in near-perfect condition, with flawless surfaces, blazing red color, and top professional grading, a 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark has reached auction levels as high as around $115,000. That kind of value is reserved for the absolute best of the best, coins that are nearly impossible to find. This is what makes this coin so fascinating. It's not just about age or rarity, it's about condition, quality, and collector demand all coming together. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a 6-figure collectible comes down to details that most people overlook. So the next time you come across an old wheat penny, don't ignore it. Take a moment, check the date, look for that missing mint mark, study the surface, and really see what you have. Because hidden in something as small and ordinary as a 1941 penny could be a piece of history worth far more than you ever imagined. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the S mint mark is one of those coins. At a glance, it looks like any other old wheat cent, but in the right form, this coin can reach jaw-dropping values that most people would never expect from a single cent. Start by looking just under the date 1,944 inches on the front of the coin. That small s tells you it was minted in San Francisco. During that year, the USNO. During that year, the U.S. Bulls Mint was producing pennies using a copper-based composition again after the steel cents of 1943. That means most 1944 S pennies you'll find are made from a reddish copper alloy. They're common in general, but not all of them are created equal. And that's where the story gets interesting. The real key to understanding this coin is knowing that condition and composition make all the difference. A typical 1944 S wheat penny that's been in circulation for decades will show wear, flattened details on Lincoln's face, faded lettering, and dull color. Those coins might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars. But when you step into higher grade territory, the value starts climbing fast. In uncirculated condition where the coin has never really been used in everyday transactions, the details are sharp and bold. Lincoln's hair strands are clearly visible, the cheek and jawline are well defined, and the lettering stands out cleanly. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are full and detailed, with individual lines that haven't been worn away. Add in strong original mint luster, that bright, almost glowing shine, and now you're looking at a coin collectors are willing to pay serious money for. Color plays a massive role here too. Collectors categorize these coins as brown, or full red. A full red 1944 S penny, especially in high mint state grades like MS66 or higher, can bring in thousands of dollars because it has retained its original mint color for over 80 years. That's extremely rare and highly desirable. But here's where things move into a completely different league. The kind of value that turns heads and sparks headlines. A tiny number of 1944 S pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planches from 1943. These are known as 1944 S steel wheat pennies, and they are among the rarest and most valuable coins in the entire Lincoln cent series. Instead of the usual copper color, these coins have a silver gray appearance, similar to the 1943 steel cents. These steel era coins are incredibly rare because they were never supposed to exist. Only a handful have ever been confirmed, and collectors go absolutely crazy for them. Authentication is critical here. These coins must be verified by professional grading services because of their extreme value and the number of counterfeits out there. Demand for rare Lincoln cents, especially major era coins, is always strong in the U.S. market. Collectors at every level recognize the importance of these pieces, but the rarest examples, like the 1944 S steel penny, are chased by elite collectors and investors who are willing to spend big money to secure one. Now let's talk about the number that gets everyone's attention. A regular 1944 S wheat penny in circulated condition might be worth just a few cents. A high-grade uncirculated red example could reach into the hundreds or even thousands. But when you're dealing with the rare steel era version in top condition, auction prices have soared as high as $300,000. That kind of value places this coin among the most legendary pennies ever produced. That's what makes the 1944 S wheat penny so exciting. It's a coin with layers. On the surface, it's common and easy to overlook. But hidden within that year and mint mark combination is the potential for one of the most valuable small coins in American history. So if you ever come across a 1944 penny with an S under the date, don't just toss it aside, check the color. Look at the weight, pay attention to the details. Because in rare cases, that tiny piece of metal could be worth more than most people's entire coin collections combined. Next up, you might have seen a 1945 wheat penny 100 times and never thought twice about it, but what if one of those coins could quietly be worth more than a brand new house? That's the hidden story behind the 1945 United States Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark. It's the kind of coin that blends in with everyday change, yet under the right conditions, it becomes a serious prize in the collector world. First, take a look at the date 1945 and notice there's no mint mark below it. That tells you this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Back in that time, Philadelphia coins didn't carry a mint mark, so this detail is completely normal. What's not normal is finding one in exceptional condition or with rare characteristics that push its value into a completely different league. The design is classic and instantly recognizable. Abraham Lincoln's profile sits on the front, and on a well-preserved coin, you'll see strong detail in his hair, a defined cheekbone and crisp lettering all around. "In God We Trust" should be bold and evenly struck, while a birdie and the date should stand out clearly without blending into the surface. Flip it over, and the wheat ears on each side should show fine lines and texture framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Now here's where collectors start paying very close attention: condition. Most 1945 pennies spent decades in circulation, getting passed from hand to hand. That kind of use leaves behind scratches, dull surfaces, and worn-down features. Those coins are extremely common and usually carry very little value. But when you find one that avoided heavy circulation, everything changes. An uncirculated 1945 penny can still have its original mint luster, that smooth glowing shine that moves across the surface when you tilt it in the light. The details are sharp, untouched, and clean. Coins graded in higher mint state levels, especially MS66 or above, are significantly harder to find and much more valuable. Color is another major factor that separates ordinary coins from premium ones. Over time, most copper pennies turn brown due to oxidation, but a small number of 1945 pennies have managed to retain their original bright red color. These full red examples are incredibly attractive to collectors because they look almost like they were just minted yesterday. A high-grade red coin from 1945 is already rare, but that's only part of the story. What truly pushes this coin into extraordinary territory is the presence of rare errors or near-perfect preservation. Some 1945 pennies show striking errors like double dies, where parts of the design appear slightly duplicated, or off-center strikes that make the coin visually unique. Others may have exceptional surfaces with almost no marks at all, something incredibly difficult to find in coins of this age. Then there's the elite category, the absolute finest known examples. These coins are graded at the very top of the scale, with nearly flawless surfaces, blazing red color, and razor-sharp detail. They represent the best of the best, the kind of coins that advanced collectors compete fiercely to own. The demand for high-end Lincoln Wheat Pennies has remained strong for years. Collectors across the United States continue building and upgrading their sets, always searching for better quality coins. That constant demand drives prices higher, especially for coins that stand out in terms of condition and eye appeal. Now let's talk about the kind of value that turns a simple penny into something extraordinary. A typical 1945 penny without a mint mark might be worth just a few cents in worn condition. A nice uncirculated example could bring in tens or even hundreds of dollars. But when you're dealing with a top-grade coin, one with near-perfect preservation, full original red color, and professional grading confirming its elite status, auction prices have reached as high as $130,000. That's the level where rarity, condition, and demand all come together in a big way. That's what makes this coin so fascinating. It's not rare because of how many were made. It's rare because of how few survived in truly exceptional condition. The difference between an everyday coin and a six-figure collectible is hidden in the smallest details, so the next time you come across a 1945 wheat penny, don't overlook it. Hold it up to the light, check its color, study the details, and really examine what you have. Because sometimes, the most valuable treasures aren't the ones that stand out, they're the ones hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to recognize their true worth. Next up, most people would never give a second thought to a 1950 penny. It's not flashy, it's not old enough to feel ancient, and it doesn't immediately stand out. But here's the twist. Under the right circumstances, a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mid-mark can quietly climb into a value range that shocks even experienced collectors. Start with the basics. The year reads 1950, and just beneath it, nothing, no mint mark. That tells you this coin was struck in Philadelphia, which was standard for that time. Millions were produced, so at first glance, it doesn't sound rare at all. But in coin collecting, rarity isn't always about how many were made, it's about how many survived in top condition. Now take a closer look at the coin itself. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's portrait should have clean, well-defined features if the coin is in good shape. You want to see separation in the hair strands, a strong outline on the jaw and cheek, and sharp lettering around the rim. "In God Do We Trust" should be bold and complete, not faded or broken. The word Liberty should stand out clearly, and the date should look strong and untouched. Turn the coin over, and the wheat ears on both sides become the focus. On lower-grade coins, these lines are often worn smooth, but on high-grade examples, each wheat line is visible and crisp, giving the coin a textured, almost fresh appearance. That level of detail is what collectors look for, and it's surprisingly hard to find. Here's where things begin to separate dramatically. Most 1950 pennies spent years in circulation, which means they picked up scratches, dull surfaces, and general wear. Those coins are extremely common and usually hold minimal value, but when a coin is discovered in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never really used, the story changes completely. An uncirculated 1950 penny can still have its original mint luster, that soft, glowing shine that reflects light in a smooth, almost rolling way. This luster, combined with sharp details and minimal marks, pushes the coin into a much higher category. Collectors pay close attention to grading in coins in mint state, especially MS65, MS66, or higher. Color is another major factor that can make or break the value. Copper coins naturally darken over time, turning brown. But some 1950 pennies have managed to keep their original bright red color. These red coins are considered premium pieces. A fully red coin with strong luster and minimal imperfections is exactly what high-end collectors are searching for. But the real excitement comes when you combine all the right elements: top-tier condition, full red color, and exceptional surface quality. Coins that meet all these standards are incredibly scarce. Even though millions were made, very few exist today in that kind of pristine state. There's also the possibility of minor mint errors or striking variations, which can add another layer of value. While not as famous as some earlier era coins, even small imperfections or unique characteristics can make a 1950 penny stand out in the eyes of collectors. Demand for Lincoln Wheat Pennies remains strong across the United States, especially for later dates like 1950 and ultra-high grades. Many collectors aim to complete full sets, and finding a near-perfect example from this year is much harder than most people expect. That steady demand keeps pushing prices higher for the best coins available. Now here's the part that completely changes how you look at this coin. In average circulated condition, a 1950 penny without a mint mark might only be worth a few cents. Even in decent uncirculated condition, it might reach into the tens or hundreds of dollars. But when you're talking about an elite example, one with flawless or near-flawless surfaces, blazing red color, and a top professional grade, the value can climb all the way up to around $80,000 at auction. That's the level where only the finest known coins exist. This is what makes the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny so intriguing. It's not about being obviously rare. It's about hidden rarity, the kind that only reveals itself when you look closely, understand grading, and recognize true quality. So the next time you see a 1950 penny, don't dismiss it as just spare change. Take a moment, really examine it, and pay attention to the details most people ignore. Because sometimes the biggest value isn't in the coin everyone is chasing, it's in the one almost everyone else overlooks. Next up, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a D mint mark is one of those coins. At first glance, it's just another mid-century penny, something you might expect to find in an old jar or drawer. But in rare cases, this coin steps into a value range that feels almost unreal. Right below the date, 1953, you'll find a small D. That mark tells you it was struck at the Denver Mint. Millions of these coins were produced, so in everyday condition, they're not hard to find. But what separates a common coin from a high-end collectible is not the number made. It's how well the coin has been preserved over time. When you hold a 1953 D Wheat Penny, the first thing to study is the detail on Abraham Lincoln's portrait. On a worn coin, the features look soft and flat. But on a high-quality example, the difference is immediate. You'll see sharp lines in the hair, a clean and defined profile, and bold lettering all around the rim. The words "In God We Trust" should be complete and strong, while Birdie and the date stand out clearly without blending into the surface. Flip the coin over, and the wheat stalks become the main focus. On lower-grade coins, these stalks lose their texture and appear smooth. But on a premium piece, every line within the wheat ears is visible and crisp. That level of sharpness is a clear sign the coin has avoided heavy circulation. Now let's talk about what really drives value: condition and eye appeal. Most 1953 D pennies have been handled for years, picking up marks, scratches, and dull coloration. These coins are common and carry minimal value. But when you find one that has never been circulated, everything changes. An uncirculated coin retains its original mint luster, that silky shine that reflects light in a smooth, almost glowing way. Collectors use grading to measure this quality, and the higher the grade, the rarer the coin becomes. Once you reach levels like MS 66, 7, or beyond, you're entering a category where only a tiny percentage of coins exist. These are the coins that advanced collectors compete for. Color adds another powerful layer. Copper coins naturally darken over time, turning brown or red-brown. But a small number of 1953 D pennies have held on to their original. Bright red color? These full red coins are highly prized because they represent the coin as it originally looked when it left the mint. Combine that bright red color with strong luster and clean surfaces, and you have something truly special. But the story doesn't stop there. What really pushes this coin into extraordinary territory is the presence of exceptional quality or rare mint characteristics. Some examples show incredible strike sharpness, almost flawless surfaces, and perfect color balance. These coins stand out immediately, even among other high-grade pieces. In rare situations, subtle minting variations or minor errors can add even more appeal. The demand for top-tier Lincoln Wheat Pennies is strong and steady in the United States. Collectors are always upgrading their sets, searching for better and finer examples. That constant competition drives prices higher, especially for coins that sit at the very top of the grading scale. Now here's where things take a dramatic turn. A typical 1953 D penny in circulated condition might only be worth a few cents. Even a decent uncirculated example could bring in a modest premium. But when you're dealing with a near-perfect coin, one with blazing red color, razor-sharp detail, and a top professional grade, the value can skyrocket. In extremely rare cases, these elite examples have reached auction prices as high as $220,000. That's what makes the 1953 D Wheat Penny so fascinating. It's not about being obviously rare, it's about being exceptionally rare in the ways that matter most to collectors. The smallest details, the slightest differences in condition, can mean the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery. So the next time you come across a 1953 penny with a D mint mark, don't just glance at it and move on. Take your time, examine the surface, check the color, and look closely at the details, because hidden in that simple coin could be a level of value that most people would never expect. And that's exactly what makes collecting so exciting.